I'm gonna let you continue, but I'm gonna let y'all know anybody want to drop because I have opposition up here in the box. Anybody want to drop?
I got Rainy. Brandy dropped. Okay.
Anyway,
Love you, Brandy.
I was just a little girl. I was jumping on the bed, and my mama told me, said, go tell your daddy what. A neighbor that was a whole lot older than me said, what y'all were doing in the woods or up in the field today. And he had took me up in a cornfield. And she blamed me. And I mean, I was only like 4 or 5, but I can remember I was jumping on the bed, and she said, what were you doing? And I said, fucking. And my daddy almost beat the hell out of me over that.
Okay.
And so why would I say anything else? You know?
Yeah. Okay, Massive.
Hey.
All right. You was chirping down there, so what's up? Talk to me. Talk to us.
Yeah, hi everyone. I appreciate being invited up, but I think you invited me up by mistake. But this is a room full of stars, man. I love everybody in here. No. I think you misunderstood what I said. Swirvin said something like, when I was in the locker room, I never said anything like that because I don't like talking to men when I'm getting undressed and stuff. And all my point was, I wasn't defending Trump, and I'm not. I'm glad it went down today. All I was saying by that comment was, I'm saying that locker room talk is just an expression. It doesn't mean that that's exactly where men say shit like this, right?
Okay.
That's all I meant for that. I'm not saying like, oh, it's just an expression that Trump used and he therefore is innocent. And I'm like the exact opposite. So no, I'm not opposite.
I was shocked when he brought you up. I was like, wait, you're the opposition? Like I thought you.
Massive, I apologize. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, I'm always like guys.
This guy's on my live all the time. I don't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Hey, I got egg on my face. Right. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No worries. There's a couple other people that misunderstood the statement too. That's in the chat, so it's understandable.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna stand by my statement. I don't want to talk to nobody when I'm in the locker room butt ass naked.
I agree with you. I don't either. All I'm saying is, I
think that was more.
Yeah, I'm saying you're
like
taking it literally, and I'm saying when they say locker room. When they say locker room talk, that's not what they mean that it actually happens in a locker room. It just means when men are alone. When men know they can't be heard, this is how they talk. That's what the expression means.
Oh, shit.
It doesn't mean that they're actually naked and standing there talking to each other on a tile floor.
Yeah, shit. Now I know you. Now I know you. I'm sorry, man. I know. Now I hear the voice. I know you now. So, okay.
But in that same respect, when I have been alone with just me and the fellas, even when I was in the Navy, you know, we spent a lot of time down in weapons magazines or standing to watch on a sponson as we went through the Suez Canal. I don't know, those conversations never came up. It was just like, man, I can't wait till we get in the port in 2 days and get out on the beach and see the honeys. But I don't think I've ever had a conversation with that kind of disrespect towards women in my life. I just haven't.
Yeah, and that was the question that I asked originally to the men is thank you for clarifying that, Massive, because that's what I technically meant by the locker room talk, is do you guys in your free time, in your alone time at the bar, at the barbershop, or whatever, is it talking about grabbing women by the PUSSY, or is it literally just, I'd like to smack that ass or whatever. I mean, I get it. I get the bro shit. I do. I do. My husband and my son, so I get it. They say crazy shit, so I get it. I understand it.
And
I agree. I think that is where the line is drawn.
My husband and my son are some fucking
I can say
sex offenders.
I will say I have, like you said, Rainey, I have looked at women, and I think a lot of heterosexual men have looked at women and go, "Oh man, I like to put a hurting on that." Or
exactly, all men do.
Like I've looked at women and said something foolish like, "Man, you give me just 39 seconds." 39 seconds.
And Swirvin, I won't tell them. I'm sorry, Swirvin, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I won't tell them. I won't say that I have grabbed them by the pussies. I won't say that. I will not say that.
Like, that's where the line's drawn. It's not like, ooh, I got away without consent or something. Like, that's fucking weird. Yeah. No, I don't know anybody who does that or talks that way. I mean, obviously some men do, apparently, like Trump, but I think that's where because I think every guy talks shit about women, and someday or another, especially when they're young, they objectify them when they're alone and they're talking about how hot they are and stuff. Of course, common. But there's a certain line where it's like,
once again, Matt, I apologize for that.
And it is somewhat disrespectful.
Can I just ask this fundamental question? Does everybody on the panel believe he's guilty? Like, I mean, this action happened.
Yes.
Everybody believes that.
Yeah, 100%.
Randy, I gotta say, when it comes to Trump, I'm inclined to crucify him, whether he's innocent or not. Is irrelevant to me. Everything he does or says to me is guilty. But so you asked that question when he was on his deposition, and he said verbatim, "Graping is sexy." When he said graping is sexy, he fucking just blew it right there on top of all the other shit that he said. But as far as Bill Cosby goes, now that one, I'm inclined to be with you on that, because when it first happened, I was just dumbfounded by 30 years later. I'm like, what the fuck took her so long? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then one of the reporters said that she had asked him for money. They had a little, tete-a-tete, and she said that, he had drugged her, but then she went back again. Okay. Went back again for like seconds. And I'm not sure, but she might have went back for thirds. Now, when you're doing that, to me, it's like, okay, if the dude, got over on me one time, I'm not going to go back and let him do his shit again. Like, what the fuck? So that kind of stuck to me.
Exactly. Thank you, Granny Steve, for I had forgotten that fact. Thank you so much for refreshing my memory. She did. She went 4 times. The key witness 4 times. The other went more than once, whether it was twice or not. And so I feel like a callous bitch, and that's not my intention. It's like if I applied the same scenario to Joe Biden, which I'm sorry, I just don't see Joe Biden pushing Tara Reid on the halls of Congress and finger banging her. I just don't see it.
But it did not
for
help.
educational purposes, TikTok.
As far as Bill Cosby is concerned, though, it did not help Bill Cosby when he admitted that he drugged him. He admitted to it. It didn't help him.
Yeah, but he admitted to it in a civil situation, not in a criminal situation. And the only reason why he admitted because he wanted the whole shit to go away. And he was willing to pay that bribe.
But Mike, listen, he admitted to doing it, but yet and still the victim went back for seconds and thirds. You can't, that's when you're doing that, logically speaking, it's the math is not mathing. I can see if this happened and it was a one-time thing, yes. Prosecutors asked, he did this shit. He admitted that he did the shit. Yes. But when she sits up there and says 30 years later, I went back for seconds. I went back for thirds. You're like, what the fuck were you doing? Why would you go back to this man that just abused you? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Granny, can I just respond to righteous giggles? You're blaming the victim of someone who's unable to consent with the power dynamic. I'm literally not blaming anybody. I'm just simply advocating. I'm sorry. 30 years, Bill Cosby. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't know. I feel like if you live 30 years with this tragedy in your life, why bring it up? Why bring it up anytime later? I don't understand. And again, I would be a horrible mother if I said I wouldn't believe my daughter 30 years from now, because I would. Anytime she told me something happened to her 30 years, I would believe my kid. I would. My kid, I'd believe. However, in this sort of scenario, it's something about it just seems she wasn't even advocating. If we're talking about Trump, hold on. Let me just finish. If we're talking about Trump, she was never pressing charges for the grape charge. Her whole baseline was the defamation charge, that he called her ugly and that she, was not his type. That's what she filed a defamation claim on. It was never about the grape charge. And so that's where I find all right, I don't know how we are gotten to this conclusion. Go ahead, Swerve.
But so two things. The defamation was just not about him calling her ugly. That was not it. He lied about her. He made other derogatory statements towards her and a whole bunch of things. But what I would also ask is, if you would believe your child 30 years later, remember, these are people's children too. So their parents believe them as well. And that's where I think we have to stop for a moment and say, well, wait a minute. If I would believe my own kid, why wouldn't I believe somebody else's kid? You know what I mean?
Okay. So let me ask you as my friend, do you believe Tara Reid? Do you believe Joe Biden pushed her up against the walls of Congress and finger banged her in the middle of the halls of Congress in 1996?
The more I read,
wait. Hold on. I'm asking Swerve. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Swerve.
The more that I read into the story, because I got to be honest with you, I didn't even know who Tara Reid was up until about a year and a half ago. And so I went and read her story. And when I discovered that she was not very credible, the prosecutors, the ones that were going to be trying the case, her defense attorneys, they all got together and basically said, look, she's not very credible. She kept changing her story. Okay. I don't believe, with all the security cameras that are in the Capitol, there's no way I believe that something like that happened and it wasn't caught on film, and in the hallways and where no one else saw it, where people are constantly moving through those hallways.
Man, I fucking agree.
That's a little difficult for me to believe. Now, I'm not saying maybe it didn't happen in the office, and maybe Tara Reid may have been confused as to where it happened. Maybe she was lost in that moment. Maybe she had some fear, and I don't know. I just don't know. But
okay, so originally you talked about Trump's character, but do you believe Joe Biden's character is in the same scenario?
What I'm saying is it makes it very difficult for me to believe Tara Reid's story. The other thing is, we have proven documentation that someone like Donald Trump has cheated on all three of his wives. He paid off Karen McDougal. He paid off Stormy Daniels. And for a man that claims that he's never had to do with some of these women, he sure pays them a lot of money.
I remember the audio tape of him and the limo driver in the bus. They caught his.
Go ahead, Rebel.
Here, let me say something as a man that bothers the fuck out of me when it comes to E. Jean Carroll. She has a dress with DNA on it that she says is Donald Trump's.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was asked multiple times to provide DNA to prove his innocence, and he refused.
Every single
now,
time.
Rainey, I'm going to tell you as a man, if a woman accused me of doing something like that, and all it took was me jerking off in a cup to prove my innocence, I'd ask for 2 cups.
Straight up.
Hey, you know what, Rebs? You know what? You got a point.
And I'm telling you the truth.
You got a fucking point. You got a point.
It's basically taking the fifth. That's what Trump's doing.
No. You got a point. My understanding, let me just tell you from my understanding, you guys can correct me. My understanding is the judge would not permit that piece of evidence into record. That's what I heard. I could be wrong, but you guys can correct me.
Well, he did deny the DNA swab.
No. If the judge denies the evidence of the dress or the shirt or whatever it was, if they deny it from the jump street, there is no need for the client or for the defendant to give DNA swab. Yes, I agree with Rebel scenario. To prove your innocence, you would do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but remember, Randy, that's not civil. That's criminal. So that's why the judge didn't allow it in.
Fair enough, because the rape charge wasn't really the part of this case. It was literally the defamation, and that's why he got charged with sexual abuse,
but will there?
not fucking rape.
Oh, he's not
Is
charged.
there or will there be a
Defamation.
criminal? Is there and will there be a criminal charge?
No.
Oh, probably not.
Wow.
So the statutes of limitations are long gone for criminal, but New York did something where I don't even know why they did this. It's kind of weird, but temporarily, for 1 year, they're allowing
From November
civil
of
suits.
last year to November of this year,
They're allowing civil suits that are past the statute of limitations, but not criminal.
Hey, I want to say something to Righteous Giggles in the box. In the chat down there. I am so sorry to hear that, and I know that you're not looking for sympathy or anything like that, and you're just trying to express what happened to you. And I'm sorry what happened to you. That really fucking breaks my heart. But I want to say to you that, the whole situation with what's going on with Eugene Carroll and the lady that, Bill Cosby was, accused of or whatever. Everyone's case is different, like every victim it's a different case and a different scenario. And everyone is valid for bringing these things to the forefront. The thing is, with the Cosby case years ago, it just didn't add up for me. Just because, like I said, the multiple times that this woman went back to him. And, to me, that's kind of like a relationship, not really a, situation like that. But I just want you to know that, we're not trying to, diminish or